Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In the last class, we learned about secondary distribution of overhead under repeated distribution method, right? So in this class, we are going to learn how to distribute service department overheads using the simultaneous equation method. That is also one of the type of secondary overhead distribution, right? There are mainly two types, repeated distribution method and simultaneous equation method. So let's see how to distribute service department overheads using the simultaneous equation method. Clear? So let's see what it is. This method, it involves forming algebraic equations based on the share of services one department gives to another. So this method involves forming algebraic equations. We need to form the or set up the equations based on what? Based on the share of services one department gives to another. Here we then solve these equations. First we need to form the equations. After that we need to solve these equations simultaneously to find out what? To find the final overhead cost of each service department. After finding the equations or solving the equations, we will arrive the final overhead cost of each service department. What we have to do, this cost of service department, we need to then apportion to the production departments. After arriving the overhead cost, we need to apportion this service department cost to the production department. So in simultaneous equation method, first method is what? We need to set up the equations. After that we need to solve the equation. Then we will arrive overhead cost of each service departments. After that we need to apportion that overhead cost of service department to the production departments. Clear? This simultaneous equation method, this is purely mathematical and it gives accurate results when service departments mutually serves each other. Clear? So let's see one problem. See here, distribute the service department expenses to production department using simultaneous equation method. Distribute the service department expenses to the production department using simultaneous equation method. So total overhead means this overhead, it is as per the primary distribution summary, right? So A, B, C production departments overhead cost as per the primary distribution summary is 15,100, 14,400 and 19,300. And service department overhead, that is 9,250 and 3,150. Clear? Now distribution of service department expenses. Here X and Y, these are the service department. It means what? X provides 20% of service to A and 30% to B, 40% to C and 10% to Y. And next one Y, it gives 40% of service to A, 20% of service to B, 30% of service to C and 10% of service to X. See, they X and Y service department, they mutually serve each other. X gives 10% of service to Y and Y gives 10% of service to X, right? So now we have to solve this problem under simultaneous equation method. First, what is the first step here? First, we need to set up or form the equation, right? So see here, 1 minute. Yes. Step 1 is set up the simultaneous equations. Set up the simultaneous equations. See, first what we have to do is, let X equals to total overhead cost of service department X. We have to take an X as overhead cost of service department X, and Y. Take Y as the overhead cost of service department Y. Till here it is clear, right? X means what? Total overhead cost of service department X, and Y means total overhead cost of service department Y. Clear? Now both x and y include their initial overheads. Both x and y include their initial overheads. Means this one. As per the primary distribution summary, that is 9,250 and 3,150. Clear? Now plus first initial overheads and plus shared cost received from the other service department. Shared cost received from the other service department means X, it receives 10% of service from Y and Y receives 10% of service from X. Clear? Now I will write down, then you will get understand. See here, X means what? X equals to initial overheads means 9,250 plus shared cost received from other service department. It means shared cost received from other service department means 10% of service received from other service department means we have to take it in decimals, that is 0.10y. 0.10y. This is equation 1. Clear? Now y. Y means what? Total overhead cost of service department y. Initial overheads 3,150 plus shared cost received from other service department, that is 10%. Again 10% received from X department. So 0.10x. This is equation 2. Clear? Till here it is clear, right? Now step 2. Step 1 is set up the simultaneous equations. Now what we have to do? We need to solve the equations. For that, step 2, substitute the value of y from equation 2 into equation 1. Substitute the value of y from equation 2 into equation 1. It means what? Here you need to listen very carefully. See here. Express y in terms of x using equation 2. Now equation 2. See here. Equation 2. This is the equation 2. Gives y in terms of x. Right? It means what? First you need to write down the equation, that is y equals to 3,150 plus 0.10x. First write down the equation. After that take this expression for y and replace y in equation 1 with it. Clear? So here wherever you see y in equation 1, you need to put y's equation, that is 3,150 plus 0.10x. That is what? Substitute the value of y from equation 2 into equation 1. Substitute the value of y from equation 2 into equation 1. Wherever you see y in equation 1, you need to put 3,150 plus 0.10x. Then equation 1, it becomes what? X equals to, write down 9,250 plus 0.10. Here y. What I said? Wherever you see y in equation 1, you need to write down y's equation, that is 3 into 3,150 plus 0.10x. Clear? Now equation 1, only has x as its variable, right? Now equation 1, it has only x as its variable, so it's making it easy to solve for x now. Now we need to solve the equations. Clear? I hope this is clear to you all. Yes. Now let's solve the equation. See here, x equals to 9250 plus multiply 3150 into 0.10. 3150 into 0.10, that is equals to 315 plus here 0.10 into 0.10x. So 0.10 into 0.10, that is 0.01x. 0.01x. Clear? Now what we have to do? X equals to, add these two. 9250 plus 315, that is 9565. 9565 plus 0.01x. Now what we have to do? Now bring all terms to one side. Now here bring all terms to one side means x plus becomes minus 0.01x equals to 9565. Now x means what? What is the value of x? 1, right? 1 minus 0.01, that is 0.99x. 0.99x equals to 9565. Now x equals to 9565. 0.99x means what? It means what? It means multiplication. Now it comes to the right side, then it becomes divided by, right? So we need to divide 0.99. So 9565 divided by 0.99 equals to, see here, 1 minute, 9565 divided by 0.99 equals to 9661.62. Take it as 62. Clear? So value of x 9661.62. Now the value of x is 9661.62. Now what you have to do? Now substitute this value of x in equation 2. In equation 2. Here in step second we substituted the value of y from equation 2 into equation 1. Here now get the value of x, right? Now we need to substitute this value of x in equation 2. Y equals to means what? Y equals to 3150 plus 0.10x. Y equals to 3150 plus 0.10 into, what is the value of x? 9661.62. Now y equals to 3150 plus 0.10 into 9661.62 equals to 966.16. 966.16. Now add both the values. 3150 plus 966.16 equals to 4116.16. 4116, that is the value of y. Value of x is 9661.62 and value of y 4116.16. Clear? In this way we need to solve the equations. Now you get the values of x and y. Now we need to prepare the secondary distribution summary. This is the format, and in that first what we have to write? First, overhead as per primary distribution summary, that is given in the problem. That is 15,100, 14,400, 19,300, For service department X 9250 and Y 3150. We need to write as it is. Clear? That is overhead as per primary distribution summary. Now we know the value means overhead cost of service department X and Y. Right? Just now we have calculated. Now we need to first we set up the simultaneous equations and we solve the equations, and now we need to apportion the overhead cost of these service departments to the production departments, right? So in repeated distribution method we used to apportion the overhead cost of service department to the production department and also including service department, right? But here in simultaneous equation method we need to apportion or allocate the overhead cost of service departments only to the production departments. Only to the production departments. Clear? Why? Because here X and Y overhead cost, they are already absorbed in X and Y calculations. See, 9250 and 3150. They are already absorbed in X and Y calculation. Means those mutual allocations between X and Y are included in the total figure solved by the equations. And here that is solved by the equation. Here you need not to allocate them again. Clear? When distributing final totals to the production departments, you need not to allocate them again to X to Y or Y to X shares again when distributing the final totals to the production department. Clear? Here, so in simultaneous equation method, we need to allocate the overhead cost of service department only to the production department, because service department overhead, they are already absorbed in X and Y calculations. That's why. Clear? So I hope this is clear to you all. Now we will distribute. First X service department. Department X, or you can write down distribution of department X overheads. That is how much? Here we have calculated, right? That is, see, 9661.62. 9661.62. Sorry. Now here X, it provides 20% of service to A. Means 9661.62 into 20 percentage means 1932. So 1932. And B, for X provides 30% of service to B and 40% of service to C. Now let's calculate 961.62 into 30% to B. That is 2898 2898, right? And 9661.62 into 40% to C, that is 3865. 3865. Clear? 9661.62 into 30% to B, right? Yes, 2898 is correct. Now here nil. Now department Y. How much the overhead cost of department Y? That is, 1 minute, 4116.16. Write down here 4116.16. Now Y provides 40% to A, 20% to B and 30% to C. Now let's calculate. 4116.16 into 40% to A, that is 1646 and 4116.16 into 20% to B, 823. 4116.16 into 30% to C, that is 1235. 1235. 1235. Now total it. 15,100 plus 1932 plus 1646 equals to 18,678. Next one, 14,400 plus 2898 plus 823 equals to not 18, 14,400 plus 2898 plus 823, 18,121. C product department 3865 plus 1235 equals to 24,400. Clear? So this is the total overhead cost of production department. That is A department's overhead cost is 18,678, B's 18,121 and C 24,400. So here we have finished the practical problem under simultaneous equation method. So this is very simple, but you need to know how to set up the equations and how to solve them. First here what we have to do, we need to set up the simultaneous equations, and step second, here after the formation of simultaneous equations we need to solve the equations. Then we will arrive the overhead cost of service departments. After that we need to apportion this overhead cost to the production departments. See here, production departments. Clear? So I hope this problem is clear to you all. If you have any doubts, please leave a comment. Thank you.